Good afternoon and welcome back everybody to another edition of the B&H virtual event space. Today we're talking RGB lighting techniques with the Forza 60C from Nanlite. We've got Kitty Marie here with Atola Visuals. We've got Sam Mallory with Nanlite. Welcome. What's going on? How are we doing today?
Oh, I'm excited to be here. I hope everyone else is excited to be here. We're going to learn some things about lighting. So
that's my favorite thing to do is learn about lighting, because that's the thing I am the worst at. So full disclosure, I always put that out there. I'm not ashamed of it. It's just something I'm not great at, and it is what
I'll
it is.
teach you.
There you go. I'm excited to learn. Today I'm a student, so I'm excited. We've got Sam here with Nanlite. Sam, what's going on? How you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here. Glad to talk about the Forza 60.
Awesome. Always a pleasure to have you here. I want to welcome everybody who's here joining us either on Zoom or Vimeo, Facebook. Just a reminder, if this is your first time here or maybe your 1000th time here, if you have any questions, make sure you get them in. If you're joining on Zoom, you can use the Q&A tab. Any of that technical question stuff, Sam is here for that, and he can definitely take care of that if Kitty may not know the answer, although I think she probably will.
I'll try my best to answer any questions.
There you go. That's all you can do is try your best. And then on Facebook and Vimeo, you can use the chat section. But otherwise, I'm going to step out of the way for Kitty and let her take over and teach us something.
Yeah. Hello. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to be talking about a video I created with the Nanlite 60C, which is this really cute, compact RGB. It's already attached right now. And I'm going to talk to you about the 3 techniques I used in the video. I'm going to show you my inspirations and my concept for the video. And we're just going to have fun. And if you have any questions, just let me know. And if you have any technical questions, we'll answer those too. So welcome. I'm excited to be here. Okay, first we'll play the video so you can see the rundown on what I created. Let me get that share screen going and let's get it. All right. So thank you for watching that with me. I had this inspiration because I was watching this show called The Sound of Magic on Netflix, and it's part K-drama and also part musical. So I love when videos and storylines kind of take a bunch of different genres and mix them together. And I love this storyline because it talks about loving your inner child and pretty much how society treats people that are different or have different dreams. So the main character in the show actually wants to be a real musician. He lives in an abandoned amusement park. So society thinks of him as strange and suspicious, and a lot of things go down, and I won't give any spoilers, but visually it's really beautiful. They use a lot of colors and fireworks, and of course there's magic. So I wanted to take that theme and kind of do something with the Nanlite 60C because it's RGB. We could have fun with colors because magicians are also very colorful characters. They're kind of mysterious. I also like to incorporate a lot of like nature elements in my videos, if you notice. So sometimes there'll be like a fire theme or a water theme. With this one, we did some smoke. So I'll talk to you about how to light and backlight smoke and fog too. So now that you know my inspo and concept, I always like to make a lookbook. So if something sparks your interest and you want to get into pre-production stage, I always suggest making a lookbook. You can do this on Instagram and like save images that really appeal to you. I like to do it on Pinterest. So I will show you my Pinterest board too, just so you could kind of see where my head was at when I was creating. Here we go. Let me move some stuff around. So yeah, I was going for like pinks and purples and kind of like more pastel look. And the Nanlite 60C is great because you could have a range of colors that are most saturated, or you could tone them down to make them more like pastel. So I wanted to play with shadows and backlight. And I also had fun buying the costume for this. So we had a top hat and like kind of like a steampunk kind of outfit. I always have fun like just making all these little details, and then cards, of course. But yeah, this lookbook is really fun. And then when you're shooting and you kind of don't have a shot idea, or you did your entire thing for your shot list, you can go back to your Pinterest board and be like, oh yeah, I want to try this now that I have extra time. Let's give it a shot. And then these images down here are actually from the show, The Sound of Magic, if you want to check it out. So there's like a lot of visual elements, butterflies, fireworks, really pretty colors. And yeah, that is my inspo for that. And so now we could get into the Nanlite 60C, which I had a lot of fun shooting with. Let me move some stuff around. So like I said earlier, I'm going to talk about 3 techniques that I use for this video and show you how you can incorporate with your future shoots or get some inspo and maybe change it up and do it your own way. Feel free to ask questions at any time. I will try to answer them as I go. So don't worry about like waiting till the end or anything like that in case you like forget. So the first one I'm going to be talking about is actually already set up right now. This is the Gobo backlight. So in my space, I have a lot of big white walls. I don't really have a lot of artwork around. So when I do shoot videos, they're kind of like white and plain, which is great for like lighting situations because you can make gradients, you can change up the colors. This one I had a lot of fun with. So if you don't know, Gobos are like little cutouts, and it could be either trees or fireworks or fire. And then you put them into a projector attachment. And what the projector attachment does is kind of like a magnifying glass, and it concentrates the light. So it's very spot. I highly suggest don't pointing this at anyone's face because you will probably burn their retinas off. So be very careful. And also it gets really, really hot, which is something like I learned like the first time using it, I burned my hands like trying to get the Gobo out. So wear gloves and be very careful because it's super strong. For my video, I actually used this as a backlight for when he was doing some card tricks, and I put it on like a purple color and had, trying to remember the shape. It was kind of like tiger stripes. I don't know if I have them in front of me here, but yeah, if you want to recreate that, definitely look for the tiger stripes. I'll show you what the Gobos look like as is. As you can see, there's like a firework shape. You could get like blinds too if you want some windows. And then this is kind of like a funky one. And then the one I have in there right now is like trees, which I'm really feeling lately. And then there's also 2 different versions, which is great because this one is actually a Bowen's mount, and it's a pretty common mount attachment for other lights. I also have the Forza 300B, so I attached that to that too. And I could also use it with the 60C, and it comes with this Bowen's attachment here. So you could use it on multiple lights if you have different lights and you want to change them out. But it's also bigger. It's really heavy. I don't know if you could tell from this. I could probably like, size comparison them in a bit. But they also have one that's actually made for the Forza 60C, which is really small and compact. And if this is the only light you're going to be using, then I would obviously suggest the one for it. So this is what it looks like on the wall. You could also focus it. Here, you could have it a little bit blurred. If you want it more natural, you could have it super sharp. And then there's like edges here where you could shape the light even more. So let me see if I could get it. I don't know if you see it. You see, you could cut the light and have like full control. So this is a lot of fun to play with. And of course, you have the RGB options. You could have any color you want. If you want green, you want blue, red, etc. And this is nice. I also have been adding it to my A roll lately, because usually it's just a white wall, like I mentioned before, but this adds a lot of nice textures and fun shadows. And you could use it for a lot. You could also use it for portraits too, but just be careful when you're shining it in people's eyes. And I'll show you the size comparison real quick, but I would have to get up. So give me a second. Let me turn this off. So here's how tiny this one is. And then this is how big this one is. Let me see. This is as close as I can get. But yes, as you can see, big shape difference.
Now, just to confirm kind of,
Oh,
And,
yes, hold on.
and yeah, I was gonna say maybe you can't hear me yet because you don't have your headphones on. But
Yeah.
so in terms of talking about size, though, with the Bowens mount versus the Nanlite specific, the 60C, I should say, specific mount.
Yeah.
So that size, you're just referring to the actual projector mount, correct? The light itself doesn't change in size.
Yeah, I noticed like when I use the Bowens mount one, it feels like there's a much bigger spread in the space, and this is kind of more like directional. So if you have like a small room, it would work perfect for that too.
Got it. But in terms of the footprint of the actual light itself, no difference to the light besides
Oh
obviously
yeah,
the
the light.
attachment.
Yeah, the light this is the light.
That's the light. Okay.
So let me show you too, because that's important. Yes, this guy, he's tiny. I also showed in the video. There's a full like behind the scenes video if you want to check it out on Nanlite USA as well. This is kind of like a live demo, like how small that is. It's insane. This is my phone. But yeah, so this kind of sits just in the back of the projector mounts there. And then this is the Bowens mount attachment. And it's super easy to just pop it in. And then it's ready to go. You can use light domes, a bunch of different modifiers now that you can use with your other lights if you have like a whole lighting setup. But there you go. The first technique. And then I also have a video example. Let me show you kind of like a before and after with my studio lights and our actor, and then what it looked like after we put the Gobos behind him. Where are you? Okay. There we go. Share screen. Yeah, so as you can see, it adds a lot of texture and just, I don't know, it just pops. There's kind of like swag behind him and just like, keeps him away from the wall as well. So there's kind of more dimension. And yeah, I love how it like also shines on the table a little bit and adds a little bit reflection. But for this setup, I actually had it, I have like these closets in my studio. So I actually mounted it on top of the closets and pointed it down. So it has this kind of like diagonal shape to it as well. So you don't have to put it like straight on all the time. You can also add it to the side and give it more diagonal, and it creates a different shape too. There's a lot of fun you could do with those. And also have any color you want, which is amazing. So sometimes I attach the big one to the 300B, but it's by color. So I only have like a couple choices, but now I have like any color I want, which is so much fun. Next up, that was number 1. Number 2, we're going to talk about backlighting, fog, and smoke. So obviously it's a magic show, and I wanted to have haze and smoke and fog and kind of a little bit mystery. So I don't know if you've ever lit fog or smoke, but there's kind of like a little technique to it. I would definitely suggest not doing it in daylight because you kind of lose it in the daylight. So pick something that's like controlled where you could black out the curtains and the windows, or you could do it at nighttime is something I highly suggest. And also if the background is darker than the foreground, that also helps make it pop. But also when you light it, you have to light it from the back too, because it kind of like shines through the smoke and the fog and also makes it look more vibrant and brighter. So that is another technique I used with this guy. I had him walking in the initial shot through fog. So this time I had the 60C on the ground, which is great because it has this cool handle that I'm going to show you. It's like a handle grip, and then it has these little feetsies that come out, and it could hold itself up, or you could just hold it like this. So let's set that up. And the great part about this is that you don't have to plug it in. So if you're somewhere where you don't have access to power, or you just want to be a little bit more mobile and like just have it handheld, if you got to do something really quick, this is perfect. So what I did was I put this like on the ground all the way in the back when he was walking, and you couldn't even see it. And then you just mount this like that. Hope I'm doing this right. I think I put it back. See, just when I said. And we'll take this attachment off. Ugh. And then you just plug this cable in the back here. Yeah, if you're playing with smoke, I had a fog machine that I borrowed from my friend, and also these smoke papers that you could buy online. So you light the smoke and then it creates this oil, and you put these oils on your finger. And when you like rub them like this, it creates like kind of a subtle smoke that has nothing to do with like, lighting fire. But here I have smoke alarms. So just in case you've never played with fog machines, you have to take note where the smoke alarms off because they will set them off. I have a big garage door, so I had that like halfway open. We had fans going, so the ventilation was really good. So as soon as we like pushed the button to let the fog out and then get the shot, I was like, hurry, vent it out, because it was also like late night and I have neighbors and I'm like, I don't want this alarm going off because that'd be so embarrassing.
I will.
But
I
yeah.
will definitely share in that sentiment, and I can speak from personal experience. Always.
Has that happened to you?
Yes, it has.
Oh my gosh,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm sad to say it has. I did want to make one statement here because Sam did let us know that in terms of that battery hand grip, it is included when you purchase the Forza 60cc.
Yes.
So looking at purchasing that.
And this is included too, right? The Bones mount and the 45-degree attachment,
which
reflector.
I'll wait for Sam to confirm 100%, but I do think yes, the reflector is included too. Yes,
and a case too, by the way. So
Okay.
lots of fun things.
There you go. There you go. Okay, I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that the battery grip does come included because that's pretty cool.
It's so light. Look at this, and then you could still tilt it. So what I attached this, the 45-degree beam spread attachment. You could also call it a snoot, which is pretty much like a circular tube that you could attach to the light. And what this does is it makes it more directional, and it also creates harder light. So if you want to create harder shadows and stuff like that, that would be a good technique to use with this setup. So this is how I had it set up for his walking shot. And then you can just turn it on. Try not to blind anyone. There. And then change the hue to anything you want. Can you see? I think it's green right now. And I had it on like a blue. So it was like this. Yeah, that's it.
Now, one thing I maybe you could talk about, or maybe this is better geared towards Sam.
Yeah.
In terms of adjusting that LED color, is it something that you just spin the knob and that's the only way to control it, or do you have kind of varying degrees where you've got separate controls that you can kind of dial in that color that you're looking to get, kind of using different like mix of colors?
So me personally, I just scroll through it. And I'll show you the back right now. Let me see. And I think there's an app too, a Nanlite app where you can control it. It's hard to see, but yeah, it goes from 0 to 300. You could change the dim and then also the saturation if you don't want it like too saturated. And then dim it. This is only 20% and it's like super powered. This is 20%. It's crazy. You can see how blown out it already is on my desk.
The Nanlite app is available for sure, and there's definitely ways to control the color in there. There's even like a feature that you can use your smartphone's camera to like take a picture of a color and then send that to the light, and it'll try its best to match that exact color. So
like a color picker. I haven't tried that. That sounds fun.
And that's obviously a free iOS Android app, yeah?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Lots of options, lots of attachments. So yeah, it's perfect for like so many various different projects, whatever you need it for. I'm sure you guys are already coming up with ideas already. So the third technique is playing with shadows. Like you saw on my Pinterest board, I had a lot of fun shadows and I wanted to play with someone's hand in the shadow. I don't know if you guys remember Peter Pan and his shadow in the first movie, but it was like his shadow was his own character and he was like running away from Peter Pan the whole time. So I wanted to do something kind of like that, where like the hand has its own motion and then my actor's hand was doing something else and they're kind of like detached, but the same at the same time. So for that one, I actually made it pink. I'm trying to actually remember from like 1 to 300 which color is pink. So I'll like test my shooter. I'll be like, what color is red? And he'll be like, I don't know, 200. I'll be like, wrong. But yeah, we're going to try to get really good at that. In case anyone's wondering, pink's around like 280. So yes, it was somewhere like a magenta pink like this. And then I had this on, I don't know if you could see, and we just kind of played with shadows and shadows. Yeah, like that. Boop, boop. Super easy. And then of course I had this attached because I wanted that harsh light with the harder shadows. And if you don't want that, you could also take it off really easily. Yeah, it gives a little bit more directional. You see the difference? Boop, boop, boop. Directional lighting. Also because like magicians are on stage too, I wanted kind of like this like spotlight effect, which it was giving me as well. Wow. Yeah. I can have fun with this all day. As you can see, there's RGBs on my wall. So at nighttime in the studio, it's always like a bunch of fun colors. And yeah, I'll just leave this here so you guys can check it out. And then other benefits that I love about the Nanlite Forza 60C, obviously it's RGB. So again, you can have any color you want for any situation. It's wireless and handheld. Well, I guess there's a wire here, but besides that, you're not like plugged into the wall every single time, which is nice. And it only uses these NP batteries, which I'm sure most people have already. And you could attach 2 of them here. Also, the Bowens mount attachment right here lets you have more mods that you can do. You want a light dome, you want strip box, you can attach it to various things. And also it's compact and lightweight, which is really nice because when you carry a lot of camera gear, I know it gets like really heavy really fast, especially if you're traveling and going to different shoots. So this is really nice. Also, if like maybe you're just YouTubing and you're shooting in your bedroom, this is really nice for like smaller spaces. I've been shooting my second bedroom for like years now, so I totally understand how hard is it to have different tripods, light stands, different lighting setup in such a small space. So I really appreciate how much power this little guy like outputs. This is still 22%, by the way. And you can use in such a small space or a big space, which is what we have now. So it's great for like key light, fill light, backlight, shadows.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was wondering. You know, when you shot that video, is that something that you just created with one light, or were you using multiple lights with that?
Yeah, so I only have one of these. So I use this mostly for the backlight, lighting up the fog and smoke, and yeah, the shadows. So when I did fill and like key light, I was actually using the Nanlite light tubes, the Pavo 260C. Is that the 4 foots? Yeah. So I had those with the barn doors attachments, and they were kind of like level like this on both sides. And then I also used the smaller light tube for like his hand to create like a little bit more pink on that. So yeah, it was all Nanlite. I really enjoy using the light tubes. We actually use them quite often for like cooking videos. Those guys are also like super small. I have the 8-foot ones, which I'm always like obsessed to play with. They're charging right now because I actually use them. But if you want to see, I guess, one video with the light tubes, I could show you that, unless we have like more questions on the Nanlite 60C. Be happy to answer those first.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'd love to see the video. And I think one thing, and I think Sam can definitely clarify this, but I do think I remember, if I'm not mistaken, that with the Nanlite tubes, that you can link them all together, I believe, which is kind of cool. I remember seeing the guys in the store do that. Am I right on that, Sam?
Yeah, the C series tubes, like the 30C and the 15C, come with like a little sync cable when you buy more than one, and those connect that way. And then the newer tubes, which is the 30X and the 15X and the 60X, which is the 8-foot one, those are all wireless at this point. So they have Bluetooth and 2.4G, which you can do the syncing that way.
Okay, sweet. And then going back to the app, because I wanted to talk, like in a case where Kitty's using something like the tubes along with the 60C, you know, through the app, are you able to control each light individually?
Yes, the 60C has built-in Bluetooth and 2.4G. So if you're using, you know, any Nanlite that has built-in Bluetooth, you can control directly with the app. So if you have the X series tubes and the 60C, you'll have no problem controlling them both that way. If you have like older tubes, like the 30C and the 15C, you can control those through the app as well. You just need to buy this additional transmitter box called the WSTB1, and that will sort of relay commands from Bluetooth to 2.4G. So those older tubes get the commands instantaneously, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you really never have to turn a knob again if you didn't want to, Kitty.
I know, right? And it helps like with the 8-foot tubes because the controls are all the way at the top, that like having wireless control is nice because then you don't have to, I always have to like tip it over and then like dial it in and then put it back. But I like the 8-foots because like if you're shooting like full body, I know with some lights you got to put on a light stand. So it's more like directional on like this area, or unless you use a strip box, of course. But with the light tubes, it like lights it from your feet all the way up pretty much evenly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love those.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, speaking of light tubes, I'll show you like one more video TikTok we made back last Halloween, actually, back when Squid Games was popular. I created a little portal. Let me see, what is it? And Yumi's in it too, my dog. So it was really hard to train her to do like what I wanted her to do, but it is what it is when you shoot with animals. We can do a video on that some other time. Here we go. Make sure the sound's on. Okay. Yeah, there you go. That was a lot of fun to actually shoot. My cousin was there at the time and she had the fan going and like we had like ripped papers to try to get it through the portal. And then I also remember like making that mask from scratch too was kind of difficult. I used like 3 different types of glue to like stick the kind of like mesh on there. But yeah, I think like little shoots like that are so much fun.
Now, going back to kind of something you started off with, talking about the Pinterest board and using that for kind of inspiration.
Yeah.
Maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit more. What do you, when you get an idea, how are you setting that up, and what's kind of like your workflow and thought process in that to kind of bring that, are you specifically looking for imagery surrounded around the shoot and the images of the shoot, or are you looking at the lighting specific to the shoot? Are you looking at a combination of both of those things? Kind of maybe you can take us a little bit through that and your thought process in that.
I could pull that up again. And where is it? Yeah, so it's pretty much like all the things. Initially, like when I do shoots, I'm usually inspired by something I've watched or like a feeling I had or experience I had or something I read. Or sometimes it'll be based on like a film product, like a light or a camera. And I like to tell the story of like what type of person might use this, or maybe a story of like what the brand and company represents. So it usually starts there. And then when I look for images, it's a cross between like props, costume, lighting, and then composition and like stylized things I like to try. So for example, the second image, I don't know if you can see my cursor. Can you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So for the first image, I was like, oh, I really want to do a backlight image like this. And I was actually trying to get a filter, like a prism filter, to actually give that look of like multiple people. And we tried searching on ShareGrid, but like no one had any in time or like nearby. So I was like kind of bummed about that, but it actually kind of worked out for a reveal shot of him. It's still backlight and kind of foggy and still had like my own twist to it. But I'm sure eventually I want to try something like this where like overlays happen within camera. The second image here is mostly for costume. So I was looking for like a top hat and kind of like a jacket, which is amazing because I found it on Amazon. And then like the next image here is more about like colors, like what colors I want to use, my color palette. I wanted to do like a pink, blue, and purple theme. So that kind of gives me a little bit of inspo. And then the fourth image here is kind of like a shot I want to try. So I wanted to have a person in there or a hand in there and have the shadow on the wall. And then I'd have like little like aesthetic feeling type of images, like this little twinkle here. I just feel like magical and ethereal at the same time. So it's not something that I actually want to shoot or try or anything to do with colors, but just mostly like a feeling. So it has like a little bit of everything in here. And then like props too. I wanted to have him play with cards and like make them fly all over the place. So I have a couple of those. I'll just type in like magic cards or like just keywords that come to mind. Sometimes you can't find the image that you're thinking of in your head for your pin board, which is like hard sometimes, but I try to get as close to it as I can. So sometimes I'll have an image in my head that I'll try to find an image for so I could show my crew and they kind of understand my vision. Or sometimes I'm like, I don't really know what to shoot and I just need inspiration and then just get it started and get my visuals going here. And then I got the idea of like the smoke oil. It's like a smoke oil that you rub. I guess magicians use it for smoke tricks. And I had no idea this existed until I saw it on Pinterest, which is called like hell smoke or something like that. But yeah, that was part of the shoot just from like randomly finding it. And yeah, these other ones, like obviously I'm not going to do like visual effects and stuff like that, but it's just like mostly for the mood and color and vibe. So yeah, a little bit of everything when I put together my pin board.
Awesome. And I think you hit on something that kind of sparks another question of, you talked about finding your inspiration and kind of not always necessarily maybe having the complete vision.
Yeah.
Which I think happens to all of us. I think we all kind of get into sort of these periods of where you maybe kind of lose focus or just can't come up with the idea that you kind of have it. I'm gonna come back on camera. You're
Oh yeah.
just looking at my little thumbnail over there. But now we live in an era where there's TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat. There's a million things that I'm completely out of date on that my kids make fun of me all the time. That,
Twitter, Twitch.
Yeah. See, you definitely know a lot more than I do when it comes to all these, but how do you find that inspiration to create for all those different avenues, especially now as a creative, as somebody who's doing video, photo, how do you stay above that and keep creating that content to continue to drive people so that they see your work, they see your content, and you're fresh in their feeds, and when they need somebody for a job, they're like, Atola Visuals, Kitty Marie.
Oh yeah, social media is like a full-time job in of itself. I try to create content. Like if I'm creating something for YouTube, I think of like, oh, how can I repurpose this for TikTok or Instagram? So you're not like doing like a singular video for each type of platform because there's so much. It gets overwhelming. And of course you want to try to do as much as you can so you can get like your work out there. And some people who are on Instagram aren't on TikTok, for instance. So you want to try to hit both of those audiences. So I'd like to start off there. Sometimes I'll just do like just straight up TikTok/Reels since they're so popular now. That's actually something I've been spending a lot more time on, is dedicating like vertical shooting. We're just so used to like shooting the camera like this or even on your phone, which is something new for me because I'm actually trained like, with traditional cameras and setups. And, now that I'm shooting on my phone, I'm like, oh my God, this is so weird and crazy. But yeah, you could do a lot of creative things with just a phone. Like you don't need a camera. You don't need like a bunch of expensive gear. You could just work with what you have. And I think that's the most important part about getting started and not feeling like so overwhelmed about social media. In terms of like inspiration, it depends on the person. I feel like, sometimes you want to like create for your audience and give them what they want to, but I think it's really important to like listen to yourself and like, what story do you want to tell? What are you inspired by? What's bothering you even? And try to like put your voice on it because there's no one else like you. And you're the only person that could tell that story from your perspective. And I know it feels so saturated in social media, like, oh, everyone's better than me and they're telling their stories and they got 1 billion followers. What am I going to do? Like, what impact can I have? But you'll be surprised that people will find you no matter who you are and what you're interested in, and they'll connect with you and tell you that you're an inspiration to them. And even if you like make them smile for like 2 seconds, I feel like that impact is like really important. So yeah, social media is like a big grind. And, I feel like I've spent a lot of years trying to process it and the meaning and the purpose and like, do I belong here even? Like some days I'm like, I don't even want to be on social media. What am I doing? But at the end of the day, I think what moves me the most is when I get DMs and people are like, oh, I'm so inspired by you and, keep doing you. And yeah, you like, I had a bad day today, but just like seeing this video was like, made me feel better. I think that's important. You need to think about that too.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think because I think, this is something we talk about a ton on the event space. And I know, I've had a lot of conversations about this with my cohort, my partner in crime, Derek, who's our other wonderful, wonderful host. So if you're out there watching, Derek, see, I love you too.
Hi, Derek.
But, I think one thing that comes to mind, especially in that social media kind of realm, is that sort of feeling of imposter syndrome, where because there's so many people out there, and you see we'll use Kylie Jenner as a prime example of somebody who's got millions and millions of followers, and then you take yourself, who you don't have billions of dollars, you don't have an empire behind you, and you start to think, well, do I really fit in this space? Do I equate to anything in there? So I think that's a cool mentality and a way of viewing things, to just look for those gems of those people reaching out to you and saying like, hey, thanks for sharing this with me today. I needed that.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like the littlest things matter the most, It's not about all the followers and all the views and all the fun gear you could play with. It's just like, the more meaningful things. But yeah, I also want to inspire people. Like, I know people are so scared to start new things or try something new because they're scared that they're going to be bad at it. But I just want to like let them know, like, we're all bad at it the first time we do it. And I think like starting something new is fun and exciting, and also sparks more inspiration and also builds your confidence, so you could try something harder the next time and more harder the next time. And you'll just branch out, get your network, build a bigger budget, and do like bigger things in the future if that's something you want to do. So don't be scared, try new things, and hopefully these like lighting techniques like helped out just even like a little bit, and maybe you want to test them out at home or try them out in your next video.
Definitely. Just make sure, if you're going to use fog, make sure your windows are open.
Yes. Yeah. Or like
fan.
Turn them off. I don't want to say that, like take the batteries off, but I don't want to be that person like Kitty said to take the batteries off of the smoke alarm.
Yeah, we don't endorse.
Don't listen to me. I didn't do that.
No, just keep the windows wide open, and maybe have like a fan running, something. Just be careful with the amount of fog you let in the room, because it can quickly go awry.
Yeah. I think you can also have atmosphere spray. So that's something that's like a little bit more probably less triggering for smoke alarms. It comes in like an aerosol can. You can just spray it in the space and it creates like a little bit of haze. It's way more like subtle than fog, but it's something you can carry with you. And then like some studios also don't even allow fog machines too, probably for that reason. It also leaves residue if you get really cheap ones. So yeah, lots of tips.
Get the good stuff.
Yeah, get a good fog machine with like good fog liquid if you're going to do something like that.
Check it out on B&H. We've got those.
Oh, perfect.
There you go.
Plug.
Shameless plug. So
do they have atmosphere spray too? I think you guys have that too.
We might. That I haven't checked, but I know we used to play around with the fog machine in the lighting department a little bit. We used to,
you have to. You can't like not play with fog if you're doing lighting things.
Yeah, it's fun. It's it's a different creative technique that you don't always use. It's not for everything, but once in a while, it serves its purpose. Look at that, Sam.
Fog juice.
Sam helping out over here.
The juice.
You found the fog juice. Sam, we're gonna hire you. That's it. You could take over for me.
And another thing with fog, like you can't really see light in a space, so fog creates like light streams and rays, and you can see it through like a 3D space too, which is nice. So it's another tip, I guess.
Awesome. So getting back to the 60C, I know we completely diverted away from the 60C and talking about the
back to
we talked about some great creative stuff. I wanted to get Kitty's opinion of the outsider looking in, somebody who's watching this and thinking about lighting. Yeah. They're thinking about the Forza 60C. They're thinking, hey, maybe I want this light. Maybe I should buy it. Maybe I shouldn't. What should I do? I don't know. you know, when you got it in your hands for the first time, you know, what kind of won you over? What kind of inspired you to use it and add it as sort of a weapon in the arsenal, if you will?
Oh, I love RGB. I don't have any light like this that actually has RGB. Most of my other lights that are for like key light and fill are just bicolor. So I love having that option of doing more creative shoots and having like something like this with me. So yeah, if you want, I guess if like you're a YouTuber or you shoot client work, it's just like a great addition for like various shoots. And that's what I find so appealing about it. And then if you don't want to do RGB, you could also have your typical like Kelvin colors, like blue to warm as well. So it carries like a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say it is for those anybody who's watching this and wondering, because yeah, we didn't mention
Yeah.
it just now, but it will just do regular, you know, daylight and
Yeah. Daylight.
adjustable.
Yeah. It has effects too, if you're crazy about those. Not
Yeah,
at
like
all.
the
But yeah, this is just
paparazzi.
your normal colors here. 3000. Yes. You could also tint it between green and magenta too. So if it's like too much in a certain tint or you want to change it, customize it a bit more, it has that option as well.
Awesome, wonderful. Well, Kitty, where can people find you? Where can people keep up with what you're creating? I know I dropped the links in the chat so people can know, but in case,
Yes. Follow me right now. Click
yeah,
the link. Hit
yeah,
the follow.
in case people missed the chat and didn't see it, where can people find you and find more of your work?
Yeah. So thanks everyone for watching this video in the first place. If you want to see more, check out my other work. You can find me anywhere at atolavisuals.com, not .com, .com, at Atola Visuals, ATOLA Visuals. Yeah. So TikTok, Instagram, I post the most on, and YouTube.
So that's it. Atola Visuals for everything.
For everything. Yeah. It took me 7 months to find a name to make sure it was all aligned across all platforms to make it easy for everyone. Because I knew in the future I'd be like, oh, well, Instagram's this one, TikTok's this one. I just wanted it easy as possible.
Nice and seamless. Beautiful. And Sam, where can people keep up with all the latest Nanlite products? What's going on? What's new? What's happening? What are you teasing us with?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we've got the website nanliteus.com. It's a good spot to go to. We're on YouTube. I think it's Nanlite US, the US YouTube channel. It's a good place. Also on Instagram, I believe that's also Nanlite US, and Twitter, Facebook, all the places, TikTok. You can find us there.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, wonderful. Well, Sam, I want to thank you for being here, helping us out with the tech side of things, all those, you know, little minutia that we would have definitely completely messed up. Or at least I would have messed up. I'm not putting this on Kitty.
I don't know. I don't know every technical thing. I just love the creative parts of it.
There you go. And Kitty, I want to thank you for being here and sharing with us, giving us a little insight into how you create and kind of get that visual thought process. So hopefully everybody at home kind of takes something away from that. I think that's a great insight to figure out how to stay above the curve and how to continue to create, especially when it's so hard and you can get into ruts. So
yes,
definitely take advantage of that. Thank you everybody for tuning in. That is it for today. Another edition of the B&H Virtual Event Space in the books. We'll catch you next time.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.